That was a game, of course, in which Killie had very much the better chances, but it was Andy Kirk who broke the deadlock 20 minutes into the second half. Kevin McKenna with that cross on the right wing, and a very good header through between the two Kilmarnock defenders. 1-0 to Hearts. And then with 10 minutes left, again the danger came down the right. No really decisive clearance from Killie, and Phil Stamp steps in to make it 2-0. Substitute Gary McSwiggan got one back for Kilmarnock in the final minute, but Hearts hung on for 2-1, and that ended their run of 4 successive defeats. At Fir Park, the wind and rain was very much a factor in a disappointing match. It was settled by a goal in the final minute, and it came via Derek Reardon. A terrific strike here. Just watch the quality of this in the final minute of the game, and that gave Hibs a victory, and their first, in fact, in 6 games. 1-0 at finishes. Livingston very much dominated the early stages at Tannadice, but crucially they failed to score, and the match was decided by 2 Billy Dodds strikes, one at the end of each half. The first after his header, and the second, of course, after Barry Robson hit the post, and it was Billy Dodds who was in the right place at the right time to knock it into the empty net. So 2-0 it finishes to United, and our guest today, I'm sure, very frustrated, because early on, a bit like Thistle really against Aberdeen, Stuart, you had chances. Yeah, we had 2 or 3 opportunities, and
You'd one of them.
I had a couple actually. Yeah, Keegan made a good save from one, and I shaved the post for the other, and we dominated the game for the first half hour. But just backing up what Whitey says, you find that a lot of these games are settled by the team that gets the first goal. They go on to win the game, and Dundee United strangled the game after that, and ran out 2-0 winners. And at Tynecastle, Gordon, Hearts again had the worst of it early on, but managed to get through for a win, which is important for them because they were on a bad run.
Absolutely. I mean, I think they would probably get just the downsides from the defeat by Bordeaux. They haven't won a game since then, but bounced back yesterday, have a good victory, but seemingly Kilmarnock played well in that game too. Yeah, they were on a good run themselves, of course, but still very tight indeed. Now back to this afternoon's big live match. Dunfermline 1, Rangers 0 at half time. We've been asking you, of course, whether you think that the new artificial pitch at East End Park is influencing the game. Well, in the evidence of the first 45 minutes, 64% of you say that it is. I'm not sure how meaningful that is. The pitch, I suppose, always influences the game one way or another, but you definitely reckon that it's having some sort of influence on the players this afternoon. Let's look back at the highlights of that first 45 minutes then. Pretty direct stuff, Gordon, but it's paying off for Dunfermline. Well, these two strikers play well together, no doubt. Brewster, Crawford are a marvellous combination, and they're always a threat to every team, but this is something they do well. Crawford just reads it perfectly there. Look at his little run there across Henningberg, and it's a great finish too, because it just bounces up, and he kept that going. And there's players that know the pitch as well, obviously they read the bounce and everything, but
I think Jimmy was pleased.
Jimmy was quite pleased with that, yeah.
But again, there was more evidence, and not great chances these, but again the straightforward Brewster-Crawford combination. It's worked so well for the last couple of seasons really, Stuart, hasn't it? Well, it has. And one thing I noticed about the goal and that chance there, I think Rangers, they got their centre-backs the wrong way round. You would want Berg to be playing against Brewster because he's probably aerially the stronger, and you would want Michael Ball to maybe match Stevie Crawford's pace, and 2 or 3 times they've got it the wrong way round. Brewster's been up against Ball, and we're just seeing Burke there, one of the few opportunities that Rangers had. But I think that's been the catch for me. The Rangers centre-backs, they've got it the wrong way around, and they've left the guy with pace to play against the old guy, if you like. Burke's going to struggle to match Stevie Crawford for pace. Yeah, that was the one really sort of flash of Rangers in the first half, Gordon. They've been very disappointing. I'm sure Alec McLeish has done a lot of talking at half-time.
I think he will have. I think, as I said, they've got to adjust to playing on the pitch. Rangers are a good footballing side when they get things going, but they haven't really got a grip of it today. They've been closed down pretty early. I think that the Dunfermline realised that you go and close them down quickly on that surface. The touch isn't quite the same. The turning cycle's not the same either on it, and there's all these factors, and Dunfermline are taking advantage of that.
How will Egil Ostenstad cope with the surface? Because we hear he's coming on for Capuccio.
I'm not sure that he's an ideal player for it as well. But maybe
don't you need quick feet?
Maybe I would think so, but maybe they've decided that it's going to be a flick-on job, and they're going to play Ostenstad to try and do what Brewster's doing, which is to touch balls on. But the big problem with Rangers, as I say, the front two, is that Mols and Capuccio always want the ball into feet, so they don't go beyond. I think young Chris Burke's been the most enterprising player. Peter Lovencrantz has been quiet. He needs to do more. But I think in those terms that if you're looking for a striker to a little flick on to get run on, Michael Mols doesn't really do that job either. That's where Rangers have lacked. Maybe they'd be better playing Lovencrantz up through the middle in order when the long balls played, because they have tried some long balls, Rangers, from the back, and Dunfermline win them all day long. They get big central defenders.
At the moment, you would have to say that Dunfermline are the better side. They're more used to the surface. Whether or not that's a massive influence in the outcome, you have to fancy them, I think, unless things change dramatically, Stuart.
Well, based on what we've seen for 45 minutes, there's no reason to think it's going to change around. I don't think Rangers have got anyone in their team to take the game by the scruff of the neck. You're looking to Rickson and Hughes in the middle of the pitch to to take the ball and make passes, and Hughes is probably more suited to doing that, but neither of them have even got any time on the ball when they've received it.
Yeah, so at the moment it's not looking a particularly good prospect for Rangers as they attempt to close the gap in Celtic at the top. Let me give you a quick couple of Premiership latest and the outcome of both matches. Aston Villa have beaten Wolves by 3-2. That's significant at the foot of the table, of course. And Hell with 2 and Gareth Barry with 1. Ray and Kennedy for Wolves. And Arsenal have beaten Blackburn 1-0. That'll take them back to the top of the Premiership. Dennis Bergkamp after 11 minutes there. The Leeds-Fulham game, of course, is just kicking off as we speak, but those two are final scores. Last thoughts then, Gordon. Dunfermline for 3 points here?
It's looking very much like that unless Rangers can improve. They really need to lift their game quite a lot, Rangers, in the second half to get back in this match.
All right, yet another crucial 45 minutes coming up then for Rangers. Dunfermline leading by 1-0 and they're well worthy of it. The Dunfermline fans are certainly enjoying it. Those Rangers fans will be hoping for better things. Let's go back to Derek White and Rob McLean.
Thanks, Dougie. Rangers have spilled 7 points this season in their pursuit of the championship, in their defence, of course, of the title. They've lost to Celtic, they've drawn at Livingston and at Motherwell, and such is Celtic's consistency and level of performance that has them 8 points behind. They were looking to close it to 5, but Dunfermline have other ideas. They're ahead at the interval. They're on the top. Let's hear from Jan Wouters.
Jan, what do you have to do in this second half to get back into this game?
Yeah, when we have the ball, we have to play it a little bit quicker on this surface, a better passing game, and it's quite difficult for us to handle the type of game Dunfermline is playing, the long balls. We lose the second balls all the time, so we have to do that better as well.
Thanks, Jan.
Well, Stuart Lovell said it at half-time. Derek and I have been saying it as well. Rangers need somebody who can get this game by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, there's definitely they're missing someone of the calibre of Barry Ferguson. Last year he used to do it when Rangers were in trouble, he'd get the game like that. This season I think it's been Craig Moore when he's been available. He's the type of guy who can get the team going, the captain of the side. I think Rangers are lacking a wee bit of that at the moment.
Because if Rangers don't win here, they might just feel as if the title is slipping away from them. You might say 8 points is not too much of a gap to close up, but the way Celtic have been going, there have been just so few mistakes made by Martin O'Neill's team, and if you let Celtic get out of your sides, it could be title over. That's the sort of pressure Rangers are under here, that's the sort of intensity. Rangers not only looking to square the game, but to win it. There's been little to lift them in the match so far. A lack of ideas, a lack of invention, a lack of aggression as well from them. They've played second best in most parts of the pitch so far to the home team.
I think they'll be a bit more direct this after Osterstad going for Capuccio, Rob. I think they'll be they need more of an outball at times. I think they'll be aiming for the big Osterstad up front to try and play off him a bit.
Eddie Loston starts, making his 13th appearance for Rangers, 8 of them off the bench, and his only goals so far have come in the CIS Cup. Of course, he'll only make a difference if Rangers can get the ball up to him, give him the sort of service which enables him to find the net. Peter Lovenkrantz, having ended the first half on the right side of the pitch, starts there in the second half as well, with Chris Burke on the left-hand side. Technically shuffling things around until they work, basically. Rickson's throw, Austin starts flick. That was Darren Young. That was Bob Malcolm. Rangers would love to get back on level terms early on in the second half. That Acrobatic goalkeeping from Derek Stilley, comes and claims the cross.
Good hands from Derek Stilley. It's a fantastic cross from Bob Malcolm on the half volley. Kept his eye on it and got good hands on it.
That's great movement up front from Craig Brewster, sliding into the gap between Berg and Rickson to pick up the long clearance. Andy Todd. If there's tension in the air among Rangers supporters, you can understand why. So much at stake, with of course the championship this season meaning automatic entry to the Champions League, a chance to get back in. Rangers having just been knocked out.
Good pressure from Derek Young and Fernando Rickson there. They never had the title. It was a poor ball from Stephen Hughes anyway in the first place, but that's been the game all day. Pressure from Dunfermline.
Lee Bullen chips it up. Nolly's headed away to Moles. Again, it's good tight marking from Andy Todd. Playing back to Peter Lovenkrantz. On to Stephen Hughes. He was in a bit of a hurry with the return pass. Was Hughes, and Lee Bullen was able to see it across the touchline.
When is a pass let in for Lovenkrantz, you've got to get into the area behind the full back so you can use Lovenkrantz's pace to get in there. That was a poor pass.
Austin starts way off, goes astray. Andreas Skerla's clearance. It's Bob Malcolm flicking it on for Michael Moles. Free kick against Moles.
I don't think Michael Moles any argument there. His hands all over Scott Wilson. It was definitely a free kick.
He's had a good game, Scott Wilson. 78 games in his time for Rangers, and now a mainstay of the Dunfermline defence. And if he develops, a chance to be an international player as well, Scott Wilson. Rangers couldn't keep it in the midfield area. Dunfermline have it. Barry Nicholson, Andreas Skerla. Todd and Wilson, the Dunfermline central defence. Distribution, Neil Point.
Yeah, it's poor. No, Scott Wilson's good from the back, but he's passing the ball there. It was a poor pass.
Missed that by a mile, Lee Bullen. So one back by Danny Mason. Offside against Stevie Crawford. Bemused, I think, describes the look on Crawford's face. Just a smidgen in it.
Yeah, it's close, but good line from Rangers. The higher up the park, they start the second half. Alex always had a few words with them at half time, and they're playing higher as a back four, the higher up the pitch.
Skerla wins the aerial tussle with Burke. Manoli, Ostenstadt, Hughes. Bob Malcolm alongside. Rickson. Lovenkrantz back heel. Rickson gets a closer view of the turf than he hoped.
A bit confusing, I'm feeling the signal for what it is. Yeah, it's a free kick against Derek Young. Yeah. Derek's not too happy with that one.
Well, alleged to have clipped his heels there.
I think it wasn't a great deal, but I think a free kick.
Five inside the penalty box for Rangers. Paolo Vanoli plays it in. Good header from Wilson again, taking charge, taking command, taking responsibility.
Yeah, that's when they've got a difference there in terms of height. Good strong header from Scott Wilson, good body strength as well to hold him off, and that was good defending there.
Chris Burke chasing. Andy Todd clears. Tries to find Derek Young as well. Wilson, Brewster. He wasn't going to waste the header, was he? And it's Barry Nicholson. Crawford nips in front of Berg. Pressure all the time on Rangers. Barry Nicholson. Free kick given against Brewster. Vanoli to Austinstad. It came off Todd to Michael Moles. Peter Lovenkrantz. Tempting ball in. Good defending from Andy Todd. He knew it was heading across the face of the goal. He knew Michael Moles wasn't going to get there.
I think we're more happy with that, Rob. That was more direct. Peter Lovenkrantz come inside. It's always a danger defender. Gave him too much room, in my opinion. But that's a decent ball in.
Rangers beginning to impose themselves a little bit more.
Get back into the match. That's only a yard short.
The job for Dunfermline, of course, is to pick up where they left off for most of the first half. They were running the show, and they want to resume that, but easier said than done, because even a depleted Rangers team as it is at the moment has a lot of quality about it.
Yeah, they have got some, I mean, even though they haven't created that many chances, they have got guys in the team who can score goals, and kind of write them off.
Charlotte McLeish ranting there. Chick, what was he ranting about?
It's picking up on what Derek was saying, actually. Derek was talking about the back line getting pushed forward. He's stopping his midfield to push the game forward as well. Bob Malcolm was getting a little bit of ear grief from him, and Lovenkrantz as well. They want to push the game, take the whole game forward.
Is that like earache?
Something like it.
Lee Bullen's free kick aimed towards Andy Todd. Forced away by Vanoli. Barry Nicholson knocks it up into the corner for Brewster. Ball comes out on top this time. But that was out.
Well, actually, in the first half, Rob, Rangers were far too deep, in my opinion, and because of Brewster was causing them all sorts of problems. But now you can see there they've actually doubled up on Craig Brewster. They've got Bob Malcolm and Michael Ball. Michael's trying to get in front of him at times just to, so he doesn't get a free header, because he was getting too much joy in the first half, Craig Brewster.
It's a fair old tribute to Brewster, though, isn't it, when Rangers are making special plans for him.
Yeah.
Michael Moles picks out Peter Lovenkrantz. Fernando Rickson sprinting up on the outside. And what a good recovery from Lee Bullen. He had all the pace he needed there to get across and snuff out the threat of Rickson. There's Michael Moles. And Lovenkrantz denied entry to the penalty box. It was Darren Young doing the defending. Chris Burke's cross. Scott Wilson couldn't let it go. Peter Lovenkrantz against Derek Young. That's well played by Young at the second attempt.
Good defending from Derek Young there. Always dangerous when you're always worried when the forwards in there tackling in your own box, but he did well there.
Paolo Vanoli's corner kick. Bob Malcolm flung himself at it. It was a chance for Rangers.
It was a great delivery, great whip ball into the box. I think just a slight touch had put Henningberg off. I think if it wasn't a touch there, he would have scored the goal.
Didn't know too much about it. Berg looking for his first Rangers goal. And they could use it at a moment. That was Andy Todd. Down from Ball to Vanoli. Michael Moles gets away from Andy Todd and from Andrea Skirla. Tried to play in Austinstad. Derek Stilly kicks for touch. That was just about in among us. thought you were going for that one there for a minute. He's come on a ton since leaving Aberdeen, Derek Stilley. Looks a very assured goalkeeper these days. Chris Burke away from Andrea Skirla. Now Michael Moles straight at Derek Stilley.
You can see what he's trying there, Rob. Just never got enough power on it. The direction was right, the technique was right. He tried to bend into the far corner. I think he just couldn't get enough on it.
There's a growing threat from Rangers as they try to get this game all square.
Without doubt, I think I'll have a piece of the word at half time in terms of them getting higher up the pitch. The first half they couldn't get out because the front two weren't holding the ball up enough for them, so they couldn't get out. This half, Osterstad coming on for Capuccio, they're holding up a bit better, and as a result the midfield can push up to help and the back four can get up to push up and help them.
Possession lost by Darren Young. Egiloston starts to Chris Burke. That's a great tackle from Andrea Skirla. Offsides, I think, against Chris Burke. Alan Freeland explains himself, or tries to.
Let's say Michael Moles in offside position.
Michael Moles, yeah. Well, I imagine that part of Alec McLeish's half-time talk would have been the sort of technical and tactical stuff you're on about, but surely a lot of it as well would be just about hunger and desire,
yes, I think,
and the need to win this.
Without doubt, I think they were the hungrier side in the first half, Dunfermline, and they got the goal from it, and they're all over the park, they were the hungrier side.
Derek Young's cross flicked on by Crawford. Wasn't cleared by Vanoli. Young again to Bullen. Wilson. An aimless pass this time, and Jimmy Calderwood will be conscious that Dunfermline have got to maintain their momentum, and I think we can see from the expression in his face at the moment that he wasn't too impressed with that.
No, he certainly he became impatient about halfway through the first half, and he's been constantly his team shout for concentration, get them to keep their mind on the job, because they know inevitably you get a backlash from the Old Firm if you do score first, and he knows that's still to come from Rangers, so he's still going consistently, his team telling him to keep concentrating.
Good play from Darren Young. Not a threatening final ball, but he did win the possession in the middle there.
Yeah, he's been hungry all afternoon, hasn't he? Biting into the midfield players' ankles at times, and he's the marvellous match.
Give it away, he must have heard us, Darren.
Yeah, that's typical, isn't it?
Lovely first time pass on the volley from Craig Brewster to Stevie Crawford. Free kick against Henning Berg.
That's where Stevie Crawford's at his best, when he's running defenders. I think Henning slightly square onto him there. I think so. Yeah, it's a decent foul to end up for Rangers, because it stops the momentum of the counter-attack. But
is that what you call that one, a decent foul?
Yeah, I thought as a defender that's a good one. But again, it's putting them under pressure because they've been so good at set pieces.
Bullen and Wilson and Todd all forward for the free kick, and it was Andy Todd who was almost in, punched away by Kloss, chased out by Burke, but Scott Wilson has it. Andrea Skirla. Bob Malcolm's header away, lofted forward by Gary Mason. Chris Burke trying to do all he can to lift Rangers, but he'll need to be lifted himself in a minute because he's still on the pitch. Rangers have a free kick. Taken out by Darren Young. Malcolm to Moles. Rickson. Hughes. Burke's pass came off. Skerla deflected off the defender. It was awkward. Well defended by Andy Todd. And he's on the ball, he takes some shifting.
Good strength from Andy Todd. Good battle him and Eggo also started there.
First signed for Dunfermline 10 years ago. He's been around the houses a few times since, but now he's back, making his presence felt, and he did well to keep his arm away from that.
Yeah, good body strength.
Gary Dempsey's going to come on for Dunfermline. They're going to make their first change. Some run from Lee Bullen right to the edge of the opposition penalty box to keep the pressure on Rangers. And there's Stephen Hughes playing it straight at Andy Todd. It's an important spell of the match. Rangers much more involved on the ball than they were in the first half, but they need a goal. Way off, goes straight to Derek Young. That was intended for his brother. Vanoli kept out by Skerla, the Lithuanian international defender. Corner kick. It's going to be Derek Young who's coming off for Dunfermline. Dempsey to take his place, but only after this corner is taken. In from Chris Burke, punched away by Stilley. Crawford blocked the Hughes shot. Ritson has a go. It's another corner.
Good pressure from Rangers, Rob. Took him a while, but eventually dragging themselves back into the match now.
Will the pressure pay off? 20 minutes into the second half. Vanoli's delivery, punched by Stilley. And that's at the rose edge from Fernando Ritson. I don't think that picture needs a caption.
Good closing down from Crawford.
He's made a useful contribution. Derek Young acknowledged by Jimmy Calderwood and Jimmy Nicholl. And Irish under-21 midfielder Gary Dempsey is the replacement. He can mix it in that midfield area. He maybe gives Dunfermline a little bit more grit.
Yeah, Derek Young had a good game. He's just back from injury recently as well, so it's good to see him get playing again.
The first involvement for Dempsey is to concede a free kick. Paolo Vanoli. That's well dealt with by Scott Wilson. He really has been composed at the heart of the Dunfermline defence here. Peter Lovenkrantz speeding away from Lee Bullen, but he looked to get the brakes on because speeding off the end of the pitch as well. Is the artificial pitch influencing the outcome of this game? Yes or no? Text us on 07736 600 600.